Hello and welcome to Before the Heights on the SEC Network. We are at Coleman Coliseum on the campus of the University of Alabama as the 7th-ranked Crimson Tide host the 9th-ranked Kentucky Wildcats. Hello everyone, I'm John Roethlisberger, once again joined by one of the most decorated American gymnasts in history, Alicia Sacramone-Quinn. Great to be with you again, Alicia. This is kind of a big point in the season. It's kind of hump week, so to speak, because they go to what's called the RQS. What does that mean to these teams?
The RQS is the regional qualifying score, so it is going to be changing up the rankings as we know it. So some of those top contenders might be flipping and flopping, no pun intended, with some other teams that may not have the best I'm blanking on my
ranking.
words. Ranking, yeah, thanks, John. But it's basically more going to be dependent on their scores versus just averages.
So we might see some movements in the rankings during these weeks of the regular season. It'll be interesting to watch, see if the top teams stay there and see if some of the bottom teams move up. Meanwhile, the SEC rankings. You can look at the top 4 teams, LSU, Florida, Alabama, and Arkansas. The top 4 teams are important because they get the evening session at the SEC Championships. If you're not in that evening session, Alicia, it's tough to win that event.
It's the ideal spot to be in because by the end of the day, judges' scores are getting a little bit higher. They are tired. They've seen a lot of routines, and they're going to most likely reward those better routines that those teams are putting up.
So we'll keep a close eye on that as the regular season comes to a close. And for Kentucky, it has not been a pretty season history between these two teams. We were very fortunate last year, Alicia, to see Kentucky get his first win ever against the Alabama Crimson Tide, but the record is 70-1, and that's not good. It would be a big monumental move for them to get their first ever road win here in Tuscaloosa.
A road win would be huge, especially with this crowd, with all the people here for Alumni Weekend. I think Kentucky would be really putting on a big show and be putting their name out there to kind of make up for last week, which there wasn't their best competition.
It is going to be fun to watch, see if they can pull off a history-making win. Other things to watch for tonight. It is big Alumni Weekend. You mentioned it here at Alabama. We're going to talk about that 30th anniversary of the 1988 NCAA Championship team. We're going to take a deeper dive into the vault event. There's more to it than what you see when you're watching TV. We'll take a deep dive on that. We'll also talk about RQS Explained, and we're going to look at the NCAA headlines and SEC honors, as well as highlights from the Florida-Georgia competition earlier this evening. And now we mentioned the alumni recognitions. There is 80 alumni in the house tonight to be recognized, but also they are honoring the anniversary of that 1988 team that won the NCAA championship for Alabama. That was the first female sport here on the Crimson Tide campus to win an NCAA championship. We're going to go to our in-house announcer now, Tony Giles. Tony?
Jacob, Lindsay Fowler Hillis, All-American Sarah DeMeo, All-American Marissa Gutierrez Monjase, Jocelyn Fowler, All-American Rachel Terry Diggs, student videographer Benjamin Smith, Megan Mashburn Vaughn, All-American NCAA champion Morgan Dennis Morris, Alyssa Chapman Rice, Ashley O'Neill McGowan, manager Lauren Smelly, academic advisor Fern Hampton, All-American NCAA champion Ashley Miles Gregg, manager Claire Harris Slayton, All-American Stephanie Kite Jones, Erin Holdifer Keitlinger, All-American NCAA champion Jenna Rice Helms, Sarah Scarborough Lotz, All-American NCAA champion Andrea Pickens Houston, Whitney Morgan Kramer, Krista Gold-Lacha, All-American Reagan Tomasek Powell, manager Sarah Harris Johnson, All-American Merritt Booth Baumgartner, manager Leslie Lina Mariner, All-American NCAA champion Kim Kelly Warren, All-American Chastity Chunkin Horton, All-American Kara Stilt Griffin. Carrie Dooley Jordan. Marty Watson Nunley. All-American Cheryl Dundas Pinpoint. All-American NCAA champion Dana Dobrensky Duckworth. Student assistant coach Todd Hardy. All-American Shay McFall Anderson. All-American Catherine Kelleher Loventhal. All-American NCAA champion Gina Basile Patelski. Marketing rep Bill Rawlings. Jamie Jenkins Burke. All-American Julie Eston Vaughn. All-American NCAA champion Penny Hochschild Buxton. Patty Rice. Nora Kirk Griffin. Angie Alexander Tarkington. Ann Wilhide Cyanide. Melissa Hunt Wiley. And Luann Gazzetti Richardson. Now, please turn your attention to the floor exercise mat for a special presentation. The Medalist Club is proud to present Dr. Luann Gazzetti Richardson with the 2018 Sarah Patterson Distinguished Alumni Award, which recognizes a member of the Alabama gymnastics family who's gone on to lead a life of distinction after her Crimson Tide career. A member of Sarah and David Patterson's first recruiting class, Luann earned a bachelor's degree in nursing while competing for the Crimson Tide, balancing her classes, clinicals, and gymnastics career with great success. Since leaving the capstone, she's gone on to earn a doctorate in nurse practitioner. She has more than 20 years teaching experience in all levels of nursing and over 25 years nurse practitioner experience in a variety of settings. Presenting her with the Patterson Alumni Award and a $500 donation to the charity of her choice are Medalist Club President Joe Butler, Sarah Patterson, and Bid Welch, Vice President of the Bank of Tuscaloosa, the award sponsor. Let's give a rolling tide for the 2018 Sarah Patterson Alumni Award winner, Luann Gazzetti Richardson. Now, please welcome tonight's very special guests, the 1988 team. Manager, Mary Ellen Mack Carter. Manager, Sherry Sims Laycock. Academic advisor, Nikki Rorable Robinson. Trainer, Sherry Kimbrough. Team physician, Dr. Jimmy Robinson. Director of Operations, Rita Martin. Wendy Anderson Hammond. All-American, Kim Masters Williams. Tracy Tillman Adams. All-American, Marie Robbins. Allie Blumberg Smith. All-American, Sherry Way Steffes. All-American, Kelly Good Bayham. Allie Belden Kustoff. All-American, Kathy Bilodeau Varney. Assistant coach, Mark Cohen. And Crimson Tide legends, Sarah and David Patterson. The 1988 Alabama Crimson Tide. Take a look now at Tide TV for a special video.
They began picking up momentum at the end of the regular season, won the Southeast Conference Championship.
The top seed and looking for the first national title. Today, Bama got all of the press attention.
Weeks ago, the Crimson Tide won the Central Region Championship with a score of 191.75, a new NCAA scoring record.
Well, it has a great ring to it. Alabama, national champions. This is possible thanks to the Bama gymnastics team.
Alabama fans, do you know what time it is? Get ready for the Tuscaloosa Toyota handstand contest. Our contestants are lined up and ready to go. Girls, the first person to cross this line right here on their hands is going home a winner. Are y'all ready? On your mark, get set, go. Come on, man, let's try to cheer them on.
Claim your prize at the marketing table on the concourse behind sections D and E. Tuscaloosa Toyota will give away many more prizes throughout tonight's meet. Children's of Alabama is a proud sponsor of Crimson Tide Athletics and is home to the state's only pediatric concussion clinic. For more information, visit childrensal.org/concussion.
It's time to play the association game brought to you by Chicken Salad Chick. I'm with David, and if he can name just as many or more animals than tonight's gymnast, he's going home a winner, and everybody else in Coleman Coliseum will get $5 off their next Chicken Salad Chick purchase. David, are you ready? Okay, the clock will begin starting now.
Cow, sheep, pig, dog, frog, fish, shark, eel, alligator, lizard, snake.
Hey, I'm impressed. Let's check out the video board and see how many she is.
Coliseum for tonight's SEC meet featuring the Kentucky Wildcats and your Alabama Crimson Tide to honor America and our freedom. Please stand with hats off and hands over hearts as our flag is presented by the University of Alabama, Army and Air Force ROTC. The national anthem is presented tonight by Allie Bryant.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Let's meet our visitors from the University of Kentucky.
Let's go, Cat.
A freshman from Jacksonville, Florida, Ella Warren. A freshman from Gibsonia, Pennsylvania, Megan Monfredi. A junior from Sewanee, Georgia, Katie Stewart. A junior from Covina, California, Aubrey Rosa. A freshman from Prince Edward, Louisiana, Madison Averett. A sophomore from Cambridge, Wisconsin, Molly Korth. A sophomore from Midlothian, Texas, Haley Poland. A senior from Newark, Ohio, Katie Carlisle. A sophomore from Douglasville, Georgia, Erin Allen. A junior from Tyler, Texas, Sydney Dukes. A junior from Waldorf, Maryland, Danae Davis. A junior from Foxborough, Massachusetts, Alex Highland. A sophomore from Cypress, California, Elena Kwan. And a junior from Stillwater, Oklahoma, Katrina Coca. Kentucky is led by assistant coaches Rachel Garrison and Chuck Dickerson and head coach Tim Garrison. Bama fans, get on your feet and turn on your phones. Let's get some light in Coleman Coliseum for your Alabama Crimson Tide.
5,
What a clutch performance.
Such a talent.
3, that good.
2,
The
1.
challenge is on.
Are you ready for it?
In the middle of the night, my dreams. You should see the things we do, baby. In the middle of the night, my dreams. I know
for it?
35 consecutive NCAA championship appearances. An NCAA best 23 NCAA Super 16 finals. An SEC record 15,162 fans at a single meet. A fall 2017 GPA of 3.80. An NCAA best 31 NCAA regional championships. 9 Southeastern Conference team titles. And 6 NCAA team championships. Now please stand and deliver a rolling tide for Alabama Gymnastics. Here are our freshmen from Spanish Fort, Alabama, Kylie Dixon. From Cape Coral, Florida, Lexi Kramer. From Montgomery, Texas, Bailey Key. From Boonton, New Jersey, Alonza Klopper. Our sophomores, a Scholastic All-American from Coppell, Texas with a career GPA of 3.9, Peyton Ernst. A Scholastic All-American from Algonquin, Illinois with a 3.9 for her career, Shane Mahoney. A Scholastic All-American and freshman All-SEC gymnast from Spearfish, South Dakota with a 3.6 GPA for her career, Winter Childers. A Scholastic All-American and All-SEC gymnast from Lenexa, Kansas with a 3.9 GPA for her career, Maddie Dash. Our juniors, a Scholastic All-American from Aiken, South Carolina with a 3.5 GPA for her career, Angelina Giancroce. A 2-time Scholastic All-American from Mobile with a 3.6 GPA for her career, Abby Arbrecht. A 2-time Scholastic All-American from League City, Texas with a 3.99 GPA for her career, Ari Guerra. Now our seniors, a 3-year Scholastic All-American with a 3.8 GPA for her career, Jenny Lowe. An All-American and 3-year Scholastic All-American with a 3.8 GPA for her career, Nikki Guerrero. A 4-time All-American and 3-year Scholastic All-American and 2-time COSIDA Academic All-American with a 4.0 GPA for her career, from Austin, Texas, Mackenzie Brannon. And a 10-time All-American, 3-year Scholastic All-American with a 3.6 GPA for her career, Kiana Winston. Alabama is led by coaches Brian Richilla and Bill Lorenz and head coach Dana Duckworth. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Alabama Gymnastics. Gymnasts, please proceed to your first event. We'll start the 4-minute touch in approximately 2 minutes.
Can Kentucky make history and get their first win ever at Alabama? It's number 9 Kentucky versus number 7 Alabama coming up next on the SEC Network. Thank you, Laura. Hello and welcome to Coleman Coliseum on the campus of the University of Alabama as the 7th-ranked Crimson Tide hosts the 9th-ranked Kentucky Wildcats in the second meet of our doubleheader on Friday Night Heights. Hello, everyone. I'm John Roethlisberger alongside Alicia Sacramone-Quinn. Lauren Sissel will also be joining us as we dive into the SEC season standings so far, and this is big because the top 4 teams ranked in the SEC get the evening session at the SEC Championships. And you can see LSU, Florida, Alabama, Arkansas currently hold those spots. If you're not in the evening session at the SEC Championship, it is going to be very hard to win that competition, and this is going to be such a pivotal event because Kentucky was in that top 4 last week. They've dropped out of it. As we look at the head coach of the Kentucky Wildcats, Tim Garrison, and Alicia, Tim Garrison has not been happy with his team's performance so far this year.
It looks like Kentucky took their eye off the prize last week. They got maybe a little bit too overconfident, and then they just kind of let the performance get the best of them where they lost a meet they should have won.
And Tim Garrison has not been shy about talking about his team. He said, it's obvious to me, the staff and the team, that we struggle to stay focused and execute at a high level in close competitions. At this point, when the pressure increases, we blink, and that needs to change. And I appreciate Tim Garrison's candor, because this series has not been kind to the Kentucky Wildcats. Alicia and I were privileged enough to be in Lexington last year when they got their first ever win over Dana Duckworth and the Crimson Tide, but this would be their first ever win here in Tuscaloosa, and it's going to be a monumental challenge for them as we dive right into the first rotation. Alabama will be starting on vault. This is Shea Mahoney.
Shea is approaching the vaulting table. Yurchenko laid out full, small hop backwards, a solid vault to start off the Alabama rotation.
Dana Duckworth feels like the vault has been an event they've made some significant progress on recently.
Great form in the air. Her legs are completely together. Just that small hop there on the end, that is going to cost her maybe a tenth or two.
So a nice start for the Crimson Tide, but only one vault in so far. Now quickly over to the even bars. Katie Carlisle will start off here. She's a senior, and she is so important to this Kentucky lineup on bars. She's gotten them started every meet this year.
The leadoff position is an important one to be in. They're looking for a solid competitor who's consistent and will put up a good score each time and start the team off right with that solid momentum.
Stuck landings for Kentucky have been elusive all season long. They're hoping to change that tonight.
Looks like they did it.
1 for 1.
Building momentum in the giant swing. The full twisting double back, 2 flips, 1 twist, and a stick.
Can't ask a whole lot more from your starter. Her high score for Katie this year, 9.875. That certainly will be tested after that routine. Shea Mahoney for Alabama on vault started that rotation for them with a 9.825. This is junior Abby Armbrecht.
Abby was warming up at Yurchenko 1.5 in touch and in pre-warm-up, so we'll be interested to see if she's going to stick with it or just play it safe with the Yurchenko full. She goes for the full, went safe. It's early in the season, no need to push it if it's not ready. Had nice height and distance, but just not enough control on that landing. A little bit bent legs, but again, the judges aren't seeing this as slow as we are, so they might not notice that.
Over to bars, Lauren Sisler's got more on the Kentucky bar lineup.
Yeah, John, you talk about fighting for those landings, and that's what Katie Carlisle did, sticking that landing there. Coach Garrison said he watched films on team like Oklahoma, UCLA, and said they will land something and maybe shift a little, but they fight so hard to stick those landings. He wants to see that same commitment here from his team tonight.
Thanks, Lauren. We saw it from Katie Carlisle, although it only amounted to a 9.8. I say only because in these SEC meets, against a team like Alabama, those 9.8s need to be 9.85s or 9.9s if you hope to win. This is Ella Warren, freshman from Jacksonville, Florida.
Line change to a Jaeger. Nice tight form. A little bit short on that handstand. You see Coach Garrison stepping in. He's allowed to stand there for the safety of the athlete as long as he doesn't spot her. There is no, or touch her, there's no deduction. Double layout. Trying to fight for that stick, but unfortunately, that's 2 steps she took right there. That's, you know, easy deductions that she's giving away to the judges. Big Jaeger swing, plenty of feet above the high bar. Nice tight body, and just pikes it down. 1 step, 2 step. That's 3 tenths right there just on that landing if the judges are going to be overly critical.
And that's what Tim Garrison's talking about, sticking those landings now. Junior Ari Guerra for Alabama follows Abby Armbrecht's 9.825. So a pair of 9.825 so far for Alabama on this event.
Round off half on tuck pass. Great distance from the table there. Nice control.
Got some Crimson Tide fans in the stands. This is how the gymnastics rules play out. There's 6 gymnasts per team on each event. Of those 6 gymnasts, they have to count the 5 best scores, so keep that in mind. They can drop a missed routine if they have one. After all 4 apparatus are completed, they add those scores up, and that is your team winner. The home team, they start on vault, as you can see Alabama has, and the away team starts on bars, but the tough part about being the away team is you got to finish on beam, and that is always tough. This is Haley Poland following Ella Warren's 9.85, so very nice. Scores are building.
Loose on that handstand on the high bar. She was trying to get it, and then she just lost control of her midsection. starting to affect the rest of her routine. A little bit short on that finger. The shootovers trying to regain composure. A little bit short on that handstand there as well. Double layout. I don't know.
the little shuffle. A lot of low handstands on that, unfortunately. We're going to go back over to the vault. Back to Lauren Sisler. Lauren?
Yeah, John, I asked Dana earlier this week where she's seen the most improvement from this team, and she said it's vault, the amplitude, the legs are cleaner, the landings are getting a lot better, and this team feels so much more confident that they can go 6 for 6 on this apparatus. Now they're looking for that magic number 24.
24 for 24 is always the goal for a collegiate gymnastics coach. This is Kiana Winston, and Ari Guerra is feeling it because she got a 9.85 for her vault. That is a career high.
Big Yurchenko full, not as far from the table as I'd like to see Kiana vault, but she's still piked down a tiny bit, causing her to hop backwards. Good form in the air. Just that hips piking at the end causes her to take that hop backwards.
Haley Poland on bars for Kentucky, meanwhile, put up a 9.65, a low score. Probably those handstands we talked about, Alicia, that looks like they nailed her on those. Now this is Katrina Coca. She's got a career high, or season high rather, of a 9.9 this year. She's done it twice. They need one of those now.
Kip cast handstand fall over.
Now this is critical because we talked about being able to drop a missed routine, but we just mentioned Haley Poland's 9.65. That 9.65, Alicia, is what they wanted to drop. But take a look at what happened here.
At this point in your athletic career, you should know how to try to save this. She should be performing a half pirouette or something to stay on the bar and not just give up and fall into cast handstand, first element of a bar routine.
That is tough. That is tough.
Resuming her routine. Line change. Straddle Jaeger.
How hard is that, Alicia? The first skill of the routine, you fall and you got to get back up there and basically do a full routine knowing you've already come off one.
At that point, you need to change the mindset. You need to not give any other deductions away to the judges and just fight for the best routine you can do possible.
You can see the scores. They were hoping to drop that 9.65. Now they're hoping they can drop Katrina Coca's routine where she had a major break. It will be a low score. But the pressure is on their final two competitors on this event. They absolutely need some big hits or this meet could get out of control early. Kiana Winston put up a 9.775. This is Lexi Graber getting ready to go. And what are some of the things to look for on vault, Alicia?
These are the typical deductions you're going to be seeing on vault. If there's a leg separation, that can be anywhere from 0 to 2/10. Bent knees in the air can be up to 3/10. And any movement after landing is up to 3/10 per step. One and a half, fighting for that landing. That's the type of fight we want to see on these, mid-season, getting ready to go into postseason.
And that is big because while Kentucky's struggling, they put up a vault that the judges, if they want to, they can put a 10 up.
I don't know if they'll give her the 10. That's that landing right there. The piking at the hips is what the judges could deduct her at. If they want to be friendly and nice, they might throw the 10. If not, they're going to give her close to it.
The home crowd will want it for sure as Alex Highland, under pressure early in this competition, needs a hit.
Line change full to immediate Ginger, connecting those skills will give her bonus points. Shoot over. Chinese catch from low bar to high bar. Full twisting double back stick landing. It was a clean routine, just small little form breaks here and there.
It stopped the bleeding.
It
Got
did.
a hit and stopped the bleeding.
A little bit short in handstands, small ankle feet separation. If I'm trying to be really nitpicky with
And
these
you are
judges,
being.
what do you think a judge does?
That is very true. Meanwhile, Lexi Graber for that vault, a career high 9.9, but man, you said it, Alicia, but I am just still a little surprised they found a 10th off on that vault. I thought it was going to be at least a 9.95. Now, Nikki Guerrero is going to finish out what has been a very solid vault rotation. Currently the lowest score for Alabama, 9.775. They can drop that score if she can put up a big number here.
Yurchenko, 1.5.
That'll be it.
That was a nice vault. That will be a 9.9 plus.
But she took a step on that one. Lexi
She
stuck
had better
hers.
body position in the air. She was straighter and tighter. And see how her body stayed flat as she approached the landing mat? That's what the judges want to see, not the pike in the hips. That was a small hop.
Yeah, well, you know, okay, I've been wrong before. So nice job from Alabama on vault. Now Molly Korth, the outstanding sophomore. She was a sensation as a freshman. Pressure is on here. Alex Highland put up a decent 9.875, but they need a big, big number.
Line change to Pike Yeager. What I appreciate about Molly's gymnastics is she's very aggressive. Everything she hits, she's going to do it sharply and very tight. And she knows that she needs to be setting an example for this team. Full twisting, double layout to a toe raise, step back turn.
So she answered the call. Should be a good score.
So 2 flips, 1 twist in a laid out position.
Was that a step?
That was a toe raise to a step. I'm not sure if they consider that a stick or not.
So wow, an outstanding first rotation, an exciting first rotation. When we come back, we're going to take a closer look at the vault event. We call it Vault 101, what you don't see when you're watching at home. The event epitomizes power and speed like women's vault. The height, the acrobatics, the important landing. There's a lot going on in those few seconds, and earlier today, our own Lauren Sisler and Alicia Sacramone-Quinn took a closer look at this exciting event.
This vault setup is a lot more complex than people think, and it starts with the length of the runway. It's 82 feet long, and it's denoted here by a tape measure to the right of it. Each gymnast marks their specific spot with a piece of tape or chalk. My number here is 70, and that's based on the amount of steps that I want to take into my entry point. They will salute the judges after they've waved the green flag. Arms go up. You get 30 seconds to focus, and then it's go time.
As you're approaching the vaulting table, you will be performing one of 5 families of vaults. Most typically in the NCAA, we see your Yurchenko. So you will be doing a round off onto springboard, so your hands go here on the hand mat. Something that you don't see is the coach setting the springboard that's different for each athlete. It is protected here by a safety zone. The safety zone is required to be used, and if you don't use it, you will actually score a 0 if you're performing a Yurchenko vault. Moving on up onto the table, it is 125 centimeters tall. That is 4 feet 3 inches. Your hand placement will either be facing front, a little bit staggered, or facing back. You do some flips, some twists, you get some good distance from the table, and you're, of course, looking for that infamous stuck landing.
There's a lot more going on in those few seconds of a vault than meets the eye. Thank you, Lauren, Alicia. After one rotation, Alabama's got a slight lead over Kentucky, but it's early. Coming up, Kentucky will move to vault with Alex Highland, and Alabama will be on bars with their anchor, the stud, Mackenzie Brannon. The first women's team out of any sport in the University of Alabama history to win an NCAA championship was the 1988 women's gymnastics team. What an outstanding job they did 30 years ago this year, and Lauren Sisler has got more on that amazing squad.
Yeah, what an exciting weekend for this 1988 team and this throwback program here. Pretty awesome stuff. They got to meet at the President's Mansion last night for a special dinner, and earlier today got to talk to the team, share some stories, some inspiring words. But I want to take you through the progression of transportation here and just put this into perspective for you. It started out with a 12-passenger van, and then it went to a Winnebago in which Sarah and David drove themselves. Later, it was a charter bus, and then Dana said they finally got to go commercial flights, and later after that, they finally get to fly all around. Now, John, you got to tell me this. You remind me what it is that you used to transport in to and from gymnastics meets?
Lauren, it was so long ago, I'm pretty sure it was covered wagon. It was a long time ago, but what a story and what a long way that program has come as we jump right into the second rotation with Sydney Dukes for Kentucky on vault.
Big Yurchenko layout half. She was fighting for that stick. She piked her hips back and dropped her head a little bit, causing her to make that step backwards.
Kentucky is .225 behind Alabama after one rotation. That is certainly not insurmountable, but they need to start sticking some landings. They need to start getting some big hits. Alabama now is going to go to the uneven bars. A little tougher event to get big scores, I think. A lot more opportunity for judges to take deductions. So this could be an opportunity for Kentucky to maybe shrink that lead or maybe even take over the top spot as Ari Guerra will lead things off with the Crimson Tide.
Mounting up onto the high bar. Tad bit short on that handstand. To a tight blind change, straddle Jaeger.
Ari struggled at Florida last week, only a 9.25. Obviously wants to right the ship here this weekend.
Judges are going to get a little bit deductions here and there for form breaks in her elbows, the way she does her cast handstands. They're just bending a little bit too much for their liking. But a nice stuck double layout dismount.
They're not taking any deductions on that landing, just like Kentucky's first routine, a stuck dismount.
She falls within the parameters of not getting any deductions. So if it's within that green little space we just saw, she's good to go and won't receive a deduction for that.
Sydney Dukes on vault got a 9.775 to start things off for Kentucky. Now this is Danae Davis. She is a vault specialist.
Approaching the springboard, Yurchenko laid out full, small hop backwards. Huge height on that vault, not a ton of distance, but I like the control she had on the landing. She only had that small hop backwards.
And she eyeballed that all the way into the mat. It looked like she was going to nail it there for a second, just that small little shuffle backwards. Ari Guerra for her bar routine scores a 9.85. That is a career high for her. She is followed by the freshman sensation, Lexi Graber, number 17 in the country on this event.
Mounting up onto the high bar. Blind change full to immediate ginger. Slight leg separation when she caught the bar. Shoot over. Again, just loose form from the knees down. Her ankles and feet aren't staying as tight as they could be. Building momentum for the dismount. A full twisting double back. Wasn't perfectly straight in the air. She tried to muscle it around, causing her to take that one step on the landing, but she finished the routine strong. The two flips and the twist. Just needed to pick her chest up a little bit faster on that landing.
So Lexi Graber does her job. Danae Davis on vault, a season high 9.85 for Kentucky. Now Alex Highland from Foxborough, Mass, your neck of the woods, as you mentioned earlier, Alicia, takes off in the third spot here.
Alex has been performing some great vaults lately. Big Yurchenko fulls. No stick today, but she had nice form. There's going to be really hard to take deductions besides that one hop on that landing.
And these are all good vaults, but you know it's got to drive Tim Garrison crazy because of these small steps. Wow, look at that focus.
You're running at a solid object that's not moving. You don't think you have a little bit of bug eyes when you're going? I know I did.
I'm sure you do, without a doubt. Lexi Graber, 9.75. So Alicia, you pointed out a lot of little deductions in that routine, even though she did hit it. So that is a score they will probably hope to drop. Now sophomore Shea Mahoney mounts the apparatus.
Starting with a toe handstand to Shakash. Moving back to the low bar with the shoot over. Making sure she hits that handstand on the high bar. Building momentum for the full twisting double back. Much more symmetrical in the air with a nice stuck controlled landing.
There you go. That should be a good number. Alex Highland on vault put up a 9.85. We'll see if Shea can match it.
That's going to be a big score. Didn't even move the feet. That is a true stick right there.
Quickly over to vault. Lauren Sisler's got more.
Last week in Georgia went to Lexington, upsetting Kentucky by more than half a point. Coach Garrison said, though, he hopes that that was the most important meet of the year for this team from a mental standpoint, and it certainly didn't set well with them, and it showed up in practice this week.
That was a big Yurchenko full. She didn't technically move her feet forward or backwards. You're allowed to land and then pull your heels together, and it doesn't. Oh, there was a small hop there, though.
Meanwhile, Shea Mahoney, the judges loved it, 9.975. That is big time, and that is a career high for that young lady. They are putting the pressure on Kentucky early.
She also got that Dynamic Diva stick belt.
Oh, yes. So how could I forget about the Dynamic Diva stick belt? Now, Kylie Dixon, man, the excitement and energy in the arena was at a fever pitch, and now this freshman has got to mount the bars. A lot of pressure on her.
5'8" for a gymnast. That is a tall drink of water. The bars are setting is all the way out. You're allowed to have them at this distance, and you can play with the height a little bit as long as it's in parameters. Big Tkachev. Sorry,
Wow, that
John.
was a huge Tkachev. You saw the scores. They certainly will want to drop that 9.75, and if they keep up this pace, that will not be a problem.
Little twisting double back.
Uh-oh.
And a stick.
Uh-oh, this place is going to go nuts. The rope's going to come off.
Nice forms, tapping over the bar. Big Tkachev. She had so much airtime. She can make sure she gets her hands on that bar. The full in. Little bit legs kicking out, but judges don't see it from that angle like we do, so.
You're not going to see a gymnast go higher on release
No
moves
way.
and dismounts than that young lady. Now, quickly back over to vault. Aubrey Rosa is following Katie Stewart's 9.875, so good scores, but tough to keep pace with the Crimson Tide.
Yurchenko full. She kicked it open early, trying to find that landing to stick. Just was a little bit too soon.
Good is not going to be good enough to keep pace right now the way the Crimson Tide are rolling.
They need to be perfect, and unfortunately, these small hops here and there are going to cost them, and it's going to get that gap in the lead to be that much more.
Kylie Dixon, a career high 9.9. I kind of thought it was going to be higher than that, but an outstanding score nonetheless. This is Kiana Winston. She's ranked number 9 in the country on this event. And man, I'll tell you what, a couple 9.9s and then a top 10 gymnast in the country goes up. You got to be feeling good if you're Dana Duckworth.
Putting that handstand, moving back to the low bar with a nice pack salto. Kiana does beautiful bars. It's so light and effortless. Makes it look like anybody could do it. All she has left is her dismount. Double layout. Stick. I mean, that might be a 10. There was not much deductions in that bar routine.
Alabama already has 5 career highs, and we're not even through the second rotation. Aubrey Rosa put up a 9.8. Now Molly Korth, she's outstanding on this event, but we've seen her struggle earlier in the season on occasion here. And this is absolutely not the time to have problems. In fact, this is the time they need her to knock this out of the park.
Molly trained to 1.5, Yurchenko, and then competed. Gosh, she stuck one in warm-up. That was absolutely beautiful. That vault was still really nice, but it's still going to have that deduction for the step.
And when I say struggle, she's great on this event, but she just needs to stick those landings quickly over to bars. And Lauren Sisler?
Yeah, before the season, Mackenzie Brannon's older brother, Brian, was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. And guys, some great news coming down this week. He has undergone several treatments and recently on Monday told by doctors that his cancer is now in remission and he's just waiting on a donor. Alabama dedicated their season to Brian, and Coach Duckworth says the prayers and outpouring of support have been tremendous. And Brian, to you here at SEC Network, we continue to pray for you. Stay strong.
Certainly our thoughts and prayers go out to the whole Brannon family. And what a way this young lady, Mackenzie Brannon, has kept her composure throughout this season and performed outstanding on this event for them.
Gymnastics is a very physical and mental sport, and to be battling with some, personal problems, it makes it that much harder, and she's been handling it like a champ. Dana says they have just a mutual understanding. If she's having a hard day, she'll just come and be like, hey, I might need a mental health day, and they just take it from there. Beautiful double layout. That was like an aggressive stick, like right into the mat.
There was no question about that, and the Crimson Tide are making a statement here in the second rotation.
So jazzed with that performance.
Kiana Winston put up a season-high 9.9. What's wrong with her? No career high for her?
I thought it was going to be a higher score, to be perfectly honest.
Now Lauren Sisler's got the head coach of the Kentucky Wildcats, Tim Garrison.
Coach, you said that loss last week to Georgia did not set well with these girls. How have they responded here in this meet tonight?
They're going for everything. They have amplitude. The mistakes we made on bars were amplitude mistakes. The fact that we didn't get all the landings over here, we're still going to work on it, but they were going for the amplitude. They were going for the maximum. We can't be strong. We can't be a great team unless we're going for the maximum. We've done that so far tonight.
And what'd you tell your girls in that huddle just there?
Exactly that. Exactly that. We're not going to finish the season the way we need to finish the season. We're not going to finish this meet the way we need to finish this meet unless we're going for the maximum. That's what they've done this far. I told them we need to keep doing the same exact thing. They're ready.
Thanks so much, Coach.
You bet.
Thanks, Lauren. It is a big point in the season because we're now going to the RQS, the regional qualifying score. When we come back, we're going to try to explain it. And so far, it's been a beautiful night for their gymnastics team. They've got a nice lead over the 9th-ranked Kentucky Wildcats after 2 rotations. And right now, let's take a look at who's taking the next steps, brought to you by Regions and Alicia Sacramone Quinn. The next step right now at this point in the season is going to what's called the RQS, the regional qualifying score. How important is that?
So up until this point, we've been just averaging all of the team scores at the end of each competition. But now we are going to be taking a calculated risk of home meets, away meets, and then averaging those to figure out. So you're going to see some change up in the standings.
So things could change, and we're going to talk about how important this is. And if you're at home, you can go to the Road to Nationals website. You click at Women at the top, and that's going to give you the national rankings. And up to this point, it's just been an average. But now we're going to go to the RQS. And why is the RQS important? It determines the 36 teams that compete at the NCAA regionals. The regionals are the first elimination round towards a national championship, and that's why during the course of the season, wins and losses aren't quite as important as scoring big and getting a great average RQS. Alicia, break it down a little more for us.
So here's how you do it. After the first 6 meets of the season, we move on to the regional qualifying scores. 3 of those meets must be away meets. Then you're going to have the top 3 scores that can be either home or away from that point. You're going to drop the highest overall score and then average the remaining 5 scores, and that will be your RQS. Alabama is actually at that point already. So you can see here we jotted down their top 6 meets, got rid of the highest, and their current regional score is a 196.375.
If you haven't figured that out at home, just get that calculator, marinate on that for a little while. We'll take a breath. What a beautiful campus here in Tuscaloosa. Coming up, we have got Alabama heading to the always difficult balance beam. Peyton Ernst will be on that event for them. University of Kentucky will be on floor. They need to make a move. In Coleman Coliseum, and they have a lot of reason to. That is a season high for the Crimson Tide, 49.55 on the uneven bars, and that has given them a comfortable .525 lead after 2 rotations. Alabama now goes to beam. Beam is always the equalizer, Alicia. Your meet's really not rolling until you hit 5 beam routines.
It's 100% the make or break event. You know, it's technically that's only 1 fall away from them being even team score. So anything can happen here at Friday Night Heights. It's all about who is mentally the toughest.
And this is Maddie Desch. She's a 2014 World Championship team member. Great pedigree.
Small little bobble there after that front aerial to beat jump.
One thing that Dana Duckworth said earlier in the season to us, beautiful acro series there, is, I spoke too soon, is that her team is great on beam, but they just can't be hesitant. They need to be aggressive and confident, and that acro series may be a little hesitant, Alicia?
Going conservative on balance beam is definitely not the way to stay on. My coach always taught me the more aggressive you are and the tighter your arms are, it's easier to stay on the balance beam. And I teach that to my kids, and I think a lot of these girls use that to their advantage as well and try to be as aggressive as possible during their beam routines.
Alabama's the 9th ranked team in the country on this event.
Getting ready for the dismount back handspring, 1.5 twist. Hiked it down a bit, causing her to take that hop backwards. Not the best routine we've seen her do. It's almost looked like her legs kind of were giving out on her. She couldn't find the tight body she needed to make those hits.
So a slightly shaky start for Maddie Desch and the Crimson Tide on beam. Now Kentucky's on floor exercise. I feel like, Alicia, they have to make a move here, bite into that lead because they have to finish on beam. Can be a tough event to score on. So if they don't tighten it up here, it might be curtains for them.
They definitely need to be putting out their best 6 floor routines, and they can't afford any mistakes.
This is junior Katie Stewart.
Opening up with a big double pike. Opened up too early. Managed to save it.
You see that ankle tape, man, that looked like it may have stung a little. When you open early on a double pike, doesn't feel good.
There's nothing worse than landing short on a double pike. Your ankles will feel that throughout the whole rest of that minute 30 floor routine you have to perform.
So I know it's only 1 routine in, but the door has just got a slight crack in it. Maddie Desch gets a 9.6 for her beam routine.
Round off 1.5 punch front layout.
Oh, and that crack may have just shut quickly.
that front layout was so long, and she just didn't have enough height to get the rotation all the way around to get on her feet. This is what Coach Garrison is talking about. When the pressure's on, you can't give into it. You need to, ignore what the other team is doing and just put out your best foot forward, because when you're performing at your personal best, that's what's best for the team. Front handspring, 1.5, uncontrolled landings.
So she stayed on her feet, Alicia, but my feeling is this is not going to be a score they're going to want to count.
I'm going to say that's probably a 9-7 floor routine. It wasn't, routine was just, okay. And I've seen her do better floor routines, so it's unfortunate she just let her nerves get the best of her.
You can see it opened early on that double pike, took the step forward. So Garrison's got some words for her, but you know what? Open early, going for those stuck landings. Can't falter for that. Now Abby Armbrecht has a little bit of pressure on her. She's following that 9-6 that we mentioned from Maddie Desch.
On balance beam, there's certain requirements that you're supposed to do in your routine, and one of the requirements actually is you have to have a down pose in the routine. Your leotard has to touch the beam for it to actually count. So you'll see different dance combinations, acro skills, just to fulfill those composition requirements. Going for her acro series here. And back handspring step out, layout step out, and cannot stay on.
So here we go. We might have a new meet. They're absolutely going to have to count now Maddie Desch's score. Now, mind you, there's 4 routines left to go, and if they don't have 4 hits, they're going to have to, they may have to count this miss.
Looking to finish the routine strong with a round off double full dismount. Getting it all the way around, fighting to not take any steps. But a little bit of a rough routine for Alabama. The back handspring layout step out. For such a tall gymnast, look at the length of the beam she's taking up. That's not very long. Her 2 skills should be landing closer to the end of the beam.
Well, as tough as it's been so far for Alabama on beam, Kentucky may have missed an opportunity with Katie Stewart's floor routine. You're a little generous, Alicia. She got a 9.55 for that first floor routine. Haley Poland will try to correct that and make the most of a mistake by Alabama. If she can hit big here, they are going to close the gap quickly.
Going for that first tumbling pass, front tuck, step out, front handspring, 1.5. Much more controlled on that landing. Teammates cheering for her on the side. Floor routines are 1 minute and 30 seconds of pretty much non-stop movement. You have acro and dance elements combined. You get to showcase your personality a little bit. And your strength. That was a beautiful front handspring, front double full, switch side straddle full.
Great dance, I love it. Different style than you see from a lot of the gymnasts.
She's definitely a performer, and I would get so dizzy doing those, like, I don't even know what to call those, twirls?
So Haley Poland gets the job done. Here's another look at this, Alicia.
Just look at 2, 3, 4. I would literally be getting nauseous doing this. And I was a gymnast too. I was just like, oh gosh.
Let's see what the judges think of that routine. Abby Armbrecht for Alabama, only a 9.3. So the first 2 scores, a 9.6 and a 9.3. The pressure is on Peyton Ernst. Alicia, things to look for on balance beam?
The points of emphasis on balance beam are the connections. You're going to see acro connections, dance connections, and then to build up your start value, you do different acro skills like your acro series, which typically we're going to see probably right here, a back handspring layout, step out, perfectly straight on the beam, exactly what she was looking for there. And then, of course, the stuck landing is what every gymnast hopes to end their routine with, that nice exclamation point that the judges remember you by.
So keep in mind, 4 routines left, including Peyton Ernst, who's up on the beam right now. They need 4 hits. Every mistake, every deduction that Alicia mentioned, it's going to impact the team score. They can no longer afford to drop any of these routines.
That was a nice front aerial to split jump connection. Peyton is very flexible, and she showcases that with dynamic full 180 split jumps.
Haley Poland on floor, a 9.825. Kentucky's coming.
Round off double full. Landed a little bit crooked from the dismount, which will be a deduction. The back handspring layout, step out, performing your acro series.
Nailed it.
Taking up more on the beam. This is what your hands and feet go through when you're doing an acro series.
I love that look, although I hate that look. It makes you really realize how tough that event is. Now back over to floor and back to Lauren Sisler.
John, you talk about Kentucky trying to close the gap here, and it's interesting. This Kentucky team has actually performed better on the road in hostile environments like this. This is now the 3rd time I've seen them this year, and they've had a strong air about them when they get on the road. And you heard it from Coach Garrison's voice earlier tonight. And it's funny, he said when they are back home, they're not quite as confident. He says maybe he needs to stick them in a hotel room or put them up in a plane for a little while, fly them around Lexington so they can perform better when they're in front of their home crowd.
I would like to see that on the budget line. Home meet flights. This is freshman Ella Warren. Now, if they're ever going to have the eye of the tiger or the eye of the wildcat, now is their chance. They have got to squeeze every 10th out of every routine to close that gap. Peyton Ernst puts up her own 9.825 on beam. So they right the ship, does the Crimson Tide so far on their rotation. What's Kentucky going to do?
Front handspring, 1.5 to back tuck. That should have been a layout step out, and she got really close to that going out of bounds when I believe she actually did get her foot over the line. So that's going to be at least a 1/10 deduction. Front fold, a front tuck. A hit, but it was, you know, unfortunate deductions that she could have saved herself from getting.
Great look at it.
Supposed to be a layout step out, tries to fight to stay in it, and her foot is right on that edge.
Wow, that is a vital 10th of a point. Saturday, it's an afternoon of men's college hoops right here on the SEC Network. First, number 10 Auburn takes on South Carolina at 3:30 Eastern. Then at 6, it's number 18 Tennessee versus Georgia. Both games are right here on the SEC Network. This is freshman Lexi Graber. She's number 25 in the country on this event. They actually have 3 gymnasts in the back half of the rotation here, does Alabama, that are all ranked in the top 25. And that is what they need right now because the first half has not been pretty in this rotation.
Back handspring step out, layout 2 feet. It's a very difficult connection to make. You have to be perfectly straight with body position to get credit for the skill. And it's not something you commonly see because it is a difficult series to perform. Switch leap straddle 3/4.
Now as a freshman, I gotta think the pressure is high. You're at home in front of thousands of people. The meet is on the line. You've already had mistakes. Kentucky is surging. Only a freshman, it's a lot to handle.
Fighting to stay on. Taking the last few breaths before she performs her dismount. Round off, double full, fighting for that stuck landing, straighter than the double fulls we've seen so far off the end.
So a few wobbles, but she gets the important stuck landing at the end. We'll see what the judges do with that. And there's head coach Tim Garrison from Kentucky, and he just huddled up his team after that third floor rotation. And I was thinking to myself, Alicia, he has got to be frustrated right now because it's an opportunity for them to get the lead back. And they keep giving away tenths of a point. The step out of bounds from Ella Warren that results in a 9.6, and it's got to be so frustrating. I don't know what he said to his team, but he might have lit them up a little bit. We'll see if it helps them in these last 3 routines.
Alex Highland has been one of those athletes for Coach Garrison that's been taking her own initiative and really leading this team by example. Not super vocal all the time, but she definitely gets her point across when she gets in the gym and she means business. Round up back handspring double pike. That's the type of landings and control Coach Garrison is wanting and expecting from his athletes.
Alex is ranked number 21 in the all-around in the country, and she really has surged in that individual category as the season's progressed.
Athletes' floor routines can be made up of 2 or 3 passes as long as they hit the expected requirements to start from a 10.0. They don't technically need that third tumbling pass. Round off 1.5 punch front layout. And that's a much better floor set.
This is going to be a big score. That was an outstanding routine.
Round off back handspring, big double pike, nice control, and finished it up with the 1.5 punch front layout.
They needed that. Lexi Graber on beam for Alabama, only a 9.65. Pressure is just getting excruciating on these last 2 gymnasts. Senior Kiana Winston, ranked number 24 in the all-around in the country, but needs her best beam routine of the season right now.
A nice front aerial, but just can't keep her upper body square to stay straight on the beam. Back handspring step out, layout, 2 feet, or that could have been a pike depending on how nitpicky the judges want to be.
That was big though, pressure on every move. Wow. Alex Highland on floor, a 9.85, a nice score.
Ready for that dismount, round off double back,
wow.
Big skill, small hop backwards. That is like picture perfect what you want to see on a split jump. If they had that in the code of points, that's exactly what they'd be showing. Very difficult dismount, double flip, took that one small hop backwards, but overall it was a pretty clean routine for Kiana.
And right now, that is what Alabama needs, is just somebody to stay on and be clean. Now, opportunities still for Kentucky. This is sophomore Molly Korth. She can go big. They've been talking whether she's going to upgrade this first pass with a full in. I don't know if now is the time to do it, but if she pulled this off, it would be big.
She warmed it up, so let's see what she pulls out for the first tumbling pass. Just a double tuck, playing it safe.
There's the scores through 4 routines. You can see it. Kentucky's had their troubles too. Right now they are counting a low score of 9.6.
Georgia to half, straddle full. Second tumbling pass, front handspring, 1.5, layout step out. We mentioned Molly's first tumbling pass, because when you throw those bigger element skills, the judges tend to reward it a little kindly in the routine. Maybe scoring a little bit higher if that big full-in was in there, or a double layout, or an Arabian double front that some of these other teams throw in their floor exercises. Last tumbling pass, round up back handspring, double pike, solid controlled landing.
This is going to be a big score. Kiana Winston on beam, a 9.875, her own big score. Take a look at this last pass. She nails this landing.
She got good height, whips it around. A little bit low with that chest and landing, but she was like, I am not moving my feet.
So now Alabama has their anchor, Nikki Guerrero. She's number 22 in the country on this event. She has got some panache and some attitude to her. And if you want anybody up on beam, if you're Alabama at any point in time when the pressure's on, this is your lady. If she can hit this routine, they're going to drop that 9.3. They will have to count that 9.6. But in order to do that, she's got to stay on.
Back handspring, step out, layout, step out, layout, step out. Like she was doing it on the floor.
Perfect. Amazing.
Switch leap to straddle jump.
I don't know about you, Alicia, but my untrained eye has yet to find a spot to take any deductions.
It's clear that I'm not a judge based on my score predictions, but it's been almost picture perfect so far.
Molly Korth on floor, a season high, 9.9. Nikki talks to herself before her dismount.
Oh, that landing! Come on!
Looked like a step to me, but she might have just saved Alabama's meat with this routine.
Get that handspring, layout, step out, layout, step out. Spot on. The round off 1.5.
Oh, a little quick step, I don't know.
That was almost a college stick, I would say.
It is a judgment call. Sydney Dukes starts her floor routine. The score is already in for Nikki Guerrero. It is a 9.9. Alicia, looks like they did take 1/10 on that landing. But what a critical score for Alabama. Sydney Dukes still has a chance to get them closer going into the final rotation.
That was a nice big double pike Sydney Dukes opened up with. She always looks so happy when she's competing. It's like the nicest thing to watch. It's just like that genuine smile.
And we've really had a chance to watch her grow through her collegiate career here in her junior year. And I have to say, I don't know if she's looked better than she does this season.
Handspring front full front layout. All that she has left is her last tumbling pass. Looking for a clean hit. Double tuck. She nails it. I'll be interested to see what the judges do with that one.
Yeah, this should be a big score. She's got a season high of a 9.925. They would love to see that one come up.
That big double pike. Nice controlled step back. And finish the routine strong with a double tuck.
Tonight's t-shirt toss is sponsored by the Crimson Tide Foundation.
Holy cow, what a rotation. Lauren Sisler was with the head coach of the Alabama Crimson Tide, Dana Duckworth.
Coach, you put up a season high on beam. You come over on bars, I'm sorry, and come over to beam. You have a few mistakes there. What did you see from the girls? Was it nerves?
A
anybody was nervous. I didn't ask a couple of them, were they nervous? I don't know. We kind of said, we're on this train, let's stay on the train, carry our speed, and we just made some mistakes. So we had some major goals tonight as a team. We wanted to come in here and hit 24 for 24. So we haven't done that. So now we go to floor, and we got to basically finish strong. But I pulled the seniors together. I said, guys, this is your team. Go tell your team what your team needs to do. Own it, believe it, and let's go put on a show.
Thanks so much, Coach.
Well, it has been a show here in Tuscaloosa. Man, it's an up and down, hit, miss. It's been exciting. When we come back, we're going to have the final rotation. Get on the train because we're rolling. Back here in Tuscaloosa after 3 rotations, Kentucky has closed down a little bit on Alabama. It's now a .35 lead. That's going to be tough to make up when you're going to balance beam. News and notes around the conference, LSU and the country. LSU 31 straight wins at home, and they have scored 197 or better in 29 straight meets. That is amazing. Utah moves ahead of number 3 in the national rankings, just ahead of LSU by .25. And the RQS, the regional qualifying scores, will be announced next week, and that will determine which 36 teams advance to the regional championships at the end of the regular season. Alicia, we had some great outstanding performance again in the conference. Who are our gymnasts of the week?
SEC Gymnast of the Week from LSU is Maya Hamburg. She won 4 event titles Friday night. Our Specialist of the Week from the University of Florida with a perfect 10.0, anchoring them last week on floor, Kennedy Baker. And last but not least, our Freshman of the Week is Alyssa Bauman. She scored 9.925 on beam and floor.
Earlier tonight in Athens, Florida, number 5 Florida gets the job done again, comfortably over number 14 Georgia.
Alex McMurtry, University of Florida's knockout athlete, was just putting up scores, and it was her first meet doing all around this season. And then Georgia's Sydney Sneed got her first ever career 10.0 on the floor exercise, performing some dynamic tumbling and really showing off that dance.
In the end, you can see Florida wins comfortably, 196.95 gets it done. Next week, we'll bring you more Friday Night Heights. First at 7 Eastern time, it's number 4 LSU and number 14 Georgia. Then at 8:30, Alicia and I will be in Auburn, Alabama, as number 7 Alabama visits number 16 Auburn. In the next rotation, Sydney Dukes will try to help Kentucky as they go to beam, close that .35 lead, while Kiana Winston tries to ice it for Alabama on floor. Coming to the end of the regular season, I still want to see Alicia in the Funky Fun in bump. I don't know who I got to pay to make that happen. Kentucky's having a good time, even though the pressure is on them. They're trying to make history for their program. They have never won in Tuscaloosa in the history of Kentucky women's gymnastics, and they right now trail by .35. Alicia, what do they have to do to make history here in this last rotation?
Honestly, they need to be perfect on beam, and they need Alabama to be a little bit less than perfect on floor.
Nicely put. Katie Stewart starts off the beam rotation for Kentucky. We saw them at home against Florida earlier in the season, Alicia. They had a rough meet, but they got to beam with the pressure on. They had to be perfect there to try to close the gap. They didn't win the meet, but they answered the bell on that event. Can we see that same performance here?
Rachel Garrison has been great with them on balance beam, and they've really improved leaps and bounds, I think, since in the last few years that we've been covering them. And it's like they come to beam and they're a different group of athletes. They're so much more confident than what we saw in the other events today. Floor was good, but then we had some few mistakes here and there in the other events that they're trying to make up for.
So breaking news sounder needs to go off, because we just heard that Haley Poland's score on floor was just dropped 0.3, and that is big. They went down to a 9.525, which is a huge difference when you look at that team score. That just gives Alabama almost a 7/10 cushion now in this rotation. That's big.
That's really big score drop.
And we don't know why. We haven't heard what the reasoning is. Obviously, there was some judge's decision, maybe difficulty, start value related, that caused that drop in score. Now, Alabama with a little bit more room to breathe. Ari Guerra, their first gymnast up here.
Kari's the epitome of fierce at the beginning of this floor routine. Making direct eye contact with the camera, just staring it down. Big double tuck. Big dynamic jump connection. Getting everybody pumped up for a Friday night. 1.5 punch front layout. Sees the corner, makes sure she stays in bounds.
She is on.
The elephant feeling in the background.
He's just chilling over there on the
Hanging
sideline.
out.
He apparently is more comfortable than everyone else who's pulling for Alabama in the stands. Pressure is on.
Last tumbling pass. Round off back handspring, double pike. Oh! Dang, that was aggressively bouncy out of that landing.
Man, it was really a perfect routine up until that point, and that huge hop, and it goes out of bounds. Sunday, we will have the last day of competition at the SEC Men's and Women's Swimming and Diving Championships at 7 Eastern from the Rec Center and Auditorium in College Station, Texas. That should be good. Don't miss that. Now Molly Korth mounts the balance beam for Kentucky. As we see the all-around standings, Molly Korth currently on the top, followed by Alex Highland, and a couple of Crimson Tide right behind her. So the team competition is certainly in question, but an important title for Molly Korth still well within reach. Lauren Sisler has more on that scoring change we heard about on Haley Poland's floor team.
Yeah, John, there was a little confusion as to why the score change for Haley Poland on floor. I talked to Coach Garrison. He said that the judges didn't count a B skill. That's B as in boy. That was missing from her routine, so they dropped her score by 0.3. Certainly detrimental if they want to try to close the gap here on this team score.
Wow, that's big because a B move is a very simple move. So they must have seen something there that would have taken that value away, because she could probably do B moves in her sleep, I'm guessing.
If that's the case, then she'd be missing a requirement, dropping her start value. Which is just peculiar. That were they going over her score after the fact?
That is odd. Haley Poland's score goes from a 9.825 down to a 9.525, a big difference. And Molly Korth, meanwhile,
just bringing it home for Kentucky.
Smooth. And that could clinch the all-around. She needs a 9.925 to clinch that individual title.
A nice double full, stuck.
Ari Guerra gets a 9.675 for her floor routine. Katie Stewart, who started off beam for Kentucky, got a 9.825 as we clean up some of the scores. So, again, a bit of a cushion for Alabama, but a 9.675 is not a great score. They cannot afford too many more of those, or this will start to get very interesting very quickly. This is freshman Lexi Graber. This is Lexi's first time on floor exercise all season. See how she handles the pressure.
Big double pike for first tumbling pass. Switch side to Wolf 1.5. Front handspring, front layout, front full.
Molly Korth, 9.875, a career high on balance beam. Kentucky trying to put some pressure on the Crimson Tide.
Taking those last final two dance moves and breath before she goes for her last tumbling pass. Lexi ending with a front 1.5 as a crazy leg kick out to a jump.
She's 1 for 1 in her career on floor exercise. This is her first time out on this event. And she gets the job done. A few little errors, Alicia, but overall not too bad.
No, those weren't major mistakes, and for the most part, the routine was pretty clean. The double pike had nice height, good like form in the air. Everything was tight, and then the front layout to front full, making sure she stays in bounds. It should be scored relatively well.
So Haley Poland, we saw her get the late deduction on her floor routine. Let's see if she's a little bitter about that and puts the gas on here on beam and tries to make up for it.
That would definitely motivate me. Back handspring step out, back handspring step out, layup step out.
Oh.
Put that foot down, girl.
Last week, Haley only got a 9.625 against Georgia on this event. Already has a wobble here tonight.
Haley likes to work with this blue lipstick, making it her signature look. I always think she looks really cold.
I like it. A little style.
Not a lot of people can pull it off, but she definitely can. Gainer back pike dismount to a stick.
So that one wobble, but other than that, pretty clean.
Not a major mistake really. That should be a 1, maybe 1.5, 2/10 deduction max. The back handspring step up, back handspring step out, layout step out. These dismounts like legit scare me. You kick forward, you're going forward, but flipping backwards, you're defying gravity and logic, and it just blows my mind.
Not a problem for Haley Poland. Lexi Graber, meanwhile, for Alabama on floor at 9.825. Now this is Abby Armbrecht. Still a decent cushion for Alabama. They've not been perfect in this rotation, but they don't need to be.
Double pike.
Let's go down to Lauren Sisler quickly. Lauren?
John, I love what Dana Duckworth said about this team. She says, we are the silent sleeper. We've seen a vast improvement from this team when we were here just 2 weeks into the season, and it's all about that power of one, improving by 1%. Of course, they struggled on beam, but they come back to floor, and they're trying to close the door and finish this thing out.
They are the number 12th ranked team on floor exercise. They've got some good tumblers. We've seen a few small errors early, but they certainly are capable of putting up 9.9 pluses on this event.
Going for this next tumbling pass. Front handspring, 1.5 to stack jump.
Haley Poland, a 9.775 for her beam routine. Now Abby Armbrecht tries to hold off that small surge from Kentucky through the first half of this final rotation. They closed the gap a little bit through 3 routines. Now Elena Kwan will get her chance, sophomore out of Cypress, California. Actually represented Belarus in the 2015 World Championships, which ironically enough, Kylie Dixon from Alabama also represented Belarus in those World Championships, dual citizens of that country.
They went to the same gym in California.
Interesting.
Teammates. Home and abroad. Series back handspring step out, layup step out. Losing control of her hips, causing her to do a little bit of a balance check.
Lauren's got some more on the scoring of Haley Poland.
Yeah, there was still some discussion going on about missing that B skill, which, as you said, John, is an easy skill, but he said the judges were right. That B skill is missing, and he's just glad that they were able to catch it now.
You don't want to find out about that B skill at the SEC Championships, but it's a little odd. We are 6 meets into this season, and you would have thought a judge would have caught that by now. Pretty interesting.
she might have had a skill that was supposed to be a B, but they didn't give her credit for it. So I don't think she was missing the B completely. I think she fell short of receiving credit for something. Therefore, she was missing the B.
And that was nice. Another stuck landing. Here's the dismount, Alicia.
Cat jump to aerial, back tuck full. Nice connection there. You get bonus points for connecting those 3 elements together.
Abby Armbrecht for Alabama, 9.875 for her balance beam routine. Kentucky waits for Elena Kwan's score, while Maddie Desch will get her chance for Alabama next on beam. She's a sophomore. She went to Gage, Great American Gymnastics Express in Missouri. Produced a lot of outstanding gymnasts over the years.
Maddie was actually a junior on junior national team when I was part of my ridiculous tenure on senior national team, and she was a great competitor, still is. I just remember her being so tiny coming into the junior team and performing some big skills.
Elena Kwan puts up a 9.825 for Kentucky. And like you said, it's not going to be good enough unless Alabama gives something back, meaning they need to make a mistake.
I love that connection pass. 4 skills, all connected, giving her a decent amount of bonus points. Switch ring towards Jate half. Last deep breath. Round off back handspring, double tuck. It almost looked like she was going to over-rotate that, and she controlled that step backwards perfectly. That last tumbling pass, she performs a double back. She had a nice strong set, good height, pulls the tuck around tightly. It almost looks like she skid her foot to step it back, but managed to stay on 2 feet. And get another hit for Alabama.
They're giving her the stuck landing belt. I don't know, the little slide back, as you mentioned, Alicia, but that was a good routine, good enough, certainly, to keep Kentucky at bay. As Sydney Dukes, who is certainly capable of putting up a big score. She has scored a 9.9 this season, however, fell last week versus Georgia, but she's great on this event.
That handspring step out, layout step out. Little smirk. Front aerial. Small little balance check there. Switch leap, straddle quarter. Sheep jump. Very difficult jump. You actually lose sight of the beam. That's why you don't see a ton of them being performed. It's a risk, but it pays off when you do it well. Stuck, 1.5. Dang it!
Oh, you called it too early.
Come on, Sydney, you made me look bad there.
Nonetheless, great job for her as we see Kiana Winston about to mount the floor exercise. Last year on this event, Kiana Winston, she was perfection. Got a 10-0 here at home in front of a massive crowd.
Kiana has big, big tumbling and nice dynamic jumps. That 10 was well deserved.
And she needs to do that right here, right now, not just to help her team, but if she gets a 10-0, she will tie Molly Korth for the all-around title. As it stands now, obviously Alex Highland has her chance to go yet on the balance beam.
Round off back handspring, double lay, short on that landing. Gets it around, but not the ideal type of stick we're looking for.
Sydney Duke score a 9.85 on beam, and I'm being told by our crack statistician that Winston just needs a 9.525 to clinch this team title with one routine yet to go for them on this rotation.
Front layout, front full. All Kiana has left is her last tumbling pass. A round up back handspring, double tuck, and she nails it.
That's going to do it for the team competition here tonight. That's most certainly going to clinch it, but probably not enough for that 10-0 in the all-around. We talked about that 10-0. We've seen them this season, but we haven't seen as many as you might think. Only 14 10-0s. But mind you, that's out of 10,828 routines that have been competed in collegiate gymnastics. They are tough to come by. And ironically enough, Alex Highland needs a 10-0 on this event to win the all-around outright. Take it away from her teammate Molly Korth, who currently holds that top spot.
Switch leap, split jump.
Scores for Kentucky on beam so far. A very good beam rotation, but you know what? You really would like to see some of those 9.8s turn into 9.9s.
Cat jump, front aerial. Looked like she contemplated doing another connection there and decided to play it safe and stop. Handspring step out, layout step out.
Alex is number 18 in the country in this event, and she also won a share of the beam title last year at the SEC Championships. Kiana Winston on floor. Not a huge score, but it's enough for the team. 9.775.
Aerial to back full, and she fights for that landing.
She looks like an SEC beam champion with that routine. It's going to be a little too late for the team title, but man, that was beautiful.
The back handspring step out, layout step out, just effortless. And then the connection of the cat jump to aerial to back full. Fighting for that landing.
It just, I didn't really see a deduction, Alicia,
No.
but it doesn't feel like this is the atmosphere where you're going to get a 10.
No.
And hence enough
9.95.
and hence enough for her to win the all-around. And Alex Highland does come up a little bit short, 9.925. A great score, though, her season high on that event. So a great way for her to finish her competition. Molly Korth will win the all-around. And this is Nikki Guerrera. This is her chance just to let it all out. They've already won the team title.
Big double pike. Tried to show off the landing and then almost took an extra step back. Switch side, straddle full. Second tumbling pass, round off 1.5, punch front full.
She looks like she's just having fun out there. I don't know if she realizes she's competing right now.
I know.
This is just her show, and we all just happen to be here.
It's Friday night, guys. I don't know about you, but I think Nikki's ready for the after festivities. Front 1.5.
What a way to finish for Alabama. Dana Duckworth certainly will be happy with the win, but she knows they left a lot on the table. And as we head to the last part of the regular season and into the postseason, Dana Duckworth knows this team's going to have to be better. But you know what? They get the win tonight. Well, take a deep breath. Friday Night Heights delivers week after week, and it was another fun one here in Tuscaloosa. We'll wrap it up when we come back. Welcome back to Coleman Coliseum on the campus of Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and it wasn't always pretty, but the number 7 Alabama Crimson Tide get it done, and really that bar rotation, that season high bar rotation of 49.55, Alicia, is really what the difference was.
It definitely saved them. They had some mistakes here and there, but that didn't, end their run at winning tonight. And that really helped them pull this out over Kentucky.
And kind of the meat summary here, Alabama gets career highs, 2 on vault, 3 on bars, 1 on floor. And those really were the difference that catapulted them because they had a lot of mistakes as well. Molly Korth, she gets the all-around title, her 10th career title. She just continues to roll, and she is outstanding. For Alabama, their 71st win versus Kentucky, only 1 loss. That was last season in Lexington. They continue the domination of the Wildcats, and it'll have to be another season before Kentucky gets a chance to win here in Tuscaloosa. The final score, Alabama 196.95, Kentucky 196.375. The Crimson Tide get it done. For Lisa Sacramone, Quinn, and Lauren Sisler, I'm John Roethlisberger. So long from Tuscaloosa. Now let's get you to the SEC studios for SEC Now. So long, everybody.